Yo, what is up, fam? It's your boy Legend, and I am back with another video. You already know what this is just by looking at the thumbnail. What if Naruto sealed himself for 7,000 years to save everyone? As you guys know, this is a Naruto X Avatar The Last Airbender crossover. So, hit that like button. Like button for the video. That is going to be 5 likes as always. So hit that like button, subscribe while you're at it. Hit that bell icon so you get notified whenever I upload. But without further ado, let's just get into this intro so we can start this what if.
They hate us, and we deserve it.
The forest clearing was larger than Naruto expected. A gentle bowl carved into the earth itself, ringed with trees that whispered in the wind. The late afternoon sunlight filtered down through the canopy, rich, dappled patches, casting golden patterns on the mossy floor. The air was fresh, heavy with the scent of pine and earth. Azula came to a slow stop at the edge of the clearing, her arms crossed loosely over her chest. She looked small in the vastness of the place, vulnerable, uncertain. "This spot good?" Naruto asked casually, his voice easy, but his eyes sharp, scanning their surroundings with the instincts of someone used to danger. Azula nodded. "It's secluded. No patrols come this deep. At least they didn't when I last heard of this area." Naruto grinned. "Perfect." He raised a single hand, two fingers folding into rapid series of seals. The ground trembled slightly beneath their feet, and Azula stumbled back a step, her eyes going wide. With a low rumble, thick roots exploded from the earth, weaving themselves together at impossible speeds. Trunks spiraled upwards, twisting into massive beams, planks, and arching supports. Vines knotted into handrails. Flowers blossomed along the forming balconies. In less than a minute, a house, no, a mansion, had risen from the earth. It perched elegantly in the arms of a cluster of ancient trees, 3 stories tall, with wide porches and delicate bridges connecting different sections. Windows made of thin glassy membranes shone in the light, and the very walls seemed alive, pulsing faintly with the breath of nature. Azula stared, slack-jawed. "That," she whispered, "should not be possible." Her heart pounded in her ears. She knew bending had mastered it better than almost anyone in her generation. But what she had just witnessed wasn't bending. It was something beyond, something ancient and overwhelming. In Naruto's hands, the elements obeyed without hesitation. They didn't fight him. They didn't resist. They served him. As Naruto dropped his hands and wiped his forehead lazily, Azula looked away, hugging herself tightly. "He's going to leave. I'm going to get caught. It's just a matter of time. This is temporary." Her stomach twisted painfully. Freedom felt too fragile, too temporary. She was used to cages, gold gilded or iron barred. No, not miracles. "Come on," Naruto called, jerking his thumb toward the newly formed staircase, winding around one of the thick trees. "Let's see what this baby looks like on the inside." The interior of the mansion smelled of clean wood and fresh sap. The floor was smooth beneath their feet, the walls bending naturally into archways and shelves. Naruto led the way, whistling low in appreciation at his own handiwork. Room after room sprawled before them, bedrooms, lounges, the massive kitchen with open air windows, even a large bathing area with a natural hot spring Naruto had coaxed up from underground. Azula touched the walls as they walked, feeling the warmth of the living wood under her fingertips. She couldn't understand. How could this even exist? Not bad for a first try, huh? Naruto said, flashing a grin over his shoulder. He clapped his hands again, and Azula's shock. Glowing crystals began to grow out of the walls, shaping into smooth, polished toilet bowls and sturdy bed frames. The crystalline structures gleamed under the soft light flickering in. Azula blinked. What is that? Crystal release, Naruto said casually. Something I picked up a while back. Makes good toilets. She gave him a long, incredulous look. Had some help, Naruto admitted, tapping his forehead meaningfully, where the tailed beast slept inside of him. Let's just say the ladies had strong opinions about comfort. He laughed, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Azula, still trying to process the sheer scale of power Naruto wielded so carelessly, merely followed silently. Hours later, they sat together on the front porch. The sun had dipped low, staining the sky in brilliant hues of pink and orange. The crickets had begun their evening songs, and a soft breeze stirred the leaves. Naruto fiddled with a piece of glowing stone in his hands, muttering under his breath. Tiny sparks flickered around his fingers as he tried and failed to establish a consistent flow of electricity through the house. Every few seconds, there was a faint crackle, followed by a frustrated grunt. Azula watched him in silence for a while before finally speaking, her voice soft and brittle. Why? Naruto didn't look up. Why what? Why are you helping me? She asked. You know you won't get nothing in return. I have nothing to offer you. Naruto paused. He set the stone down carefully and turned to face her fully. His expression was serious now, stripped of any joking or bravado. Because everyone deserves a second chance, he said simply, even if they don't believe it themselves. Azula looked away, hugging her knees to her chest. Her throat felt tight. She wanted to argue, to tell him he was wrong, that she didn't deserve anything but a cold cell and endless loneliness. But the words refused to come. Naruto continued, his voice quiet but firm. Back in my time, there were people who saw me as nothing but a monster, a screw-up, dead last. They thought I didn't deserve to be anything but hated. If someone hadn't given me a chance, if I hadn't fought to be more than what people thought I was, he shook his head, I wouldn't be here now. He smiled then, a soft, genuine thing that made her chest ache. So yeah, you might not think you deserve it, but that's not your decision to make alone. Azula swallowed thickly and lowered her head, hiding the wetness gathering in her eyes. For the first time in a very long time, she felt something like hope stirring inside her, small, fragile, terrifying, but real. 2 days later, far beyond the clearing, high on a craggy hill, two figures crouched among the rocks, peering down at the hidden mansion nestled within the forest. Mai adjusted her sleeves, two knives already held between her fingers. Her eyes, sharp and cold as ever, narrowed as she observed the scene. Toph sat beside her, legs crossed lazily, her bare feet pressed into the stone. Despite her casual posture, her face was tense. Well, Fancy Pants really did it, Toph muttered. Built the freaking house out of trees. Mai hummed in agreement. She shifted slightly, scanning the clearing with calculating precision. She watched as Naruto and Azula moved about, Naruto animatedly pointing things out while Azula trailed behind him, subdued but attentive. They don't look like they're plotting a takeover, Toph added a moment later. No, Mai said coolly. But that doesn't mean they're harmless. Toph frowned. She tapped her fingers lightly against the rock, feeling the vibrations of Naruto's footsteps even from this distance. The way he moved, there was a weight to him, a controlled strength. He's not a bender, Toph said suddenly, her brow furrowing. Not like we are. His energy feels different, older, wilder. Mai's gaze sharpened. And Azula? Toph continued. She's different too. Not as sharp, like her fire's gone out. Mai remained silent, her mouth pressing into a thin line. Part of her hated seeing Azula like this, broken and small. Another part, colder and crueler, whispered that it was exactly what Azula deserved after all the pain she had caused. We should report back, Toph said, finally pushing herself up and dusting off her hands. Tell Zuko what we found. Mai didn't move immediately. She watched as Naruto offered Azula a piece of fruit. The princess hesitating for a moment before taking it with both hands, like she was afraid of it, like it would be snatched away. Yeah, Mai said eventually, her voice unreadable. Let's go. As the two women slipped away into the gathering twilight, unseen and unheard, neither could shake the feeling that they were witnessing the start of something they couldn't quite predict or control. Something that might just change their world forever. The next morning, the morning mist clung to the trees like a living veil as Naruto stepped outside the mansion. Azula followed, arms folded tightly over her chest. She hadn't slept much. Too many nightmares. Too many memories clawing at the edge of her mind. Naruto walked a few paces into the clearing and turned, grinning over his shoulder. I'm thinking we need a training ground, he said. Before Azula could answer, he dropped into a crouch, palm slamming against the earth. The ground rumbled, a low, steady vibration that grew into a tremor with deliberate, careful movements. Naruto coaxed the earth and trees to shape themselves. Branches bent into archways, stones rose into clean platforms. A shallow pond formed in one corner, surrounded by smooth, mossy boulders. Within minutes, a natural dojo had taken form, wide open, private, and vibrant with life. Azula stared, lips parting slightly. He made it look so easy. Naruto straightened, dusting off his hands. There, now you've got no excuse. Azula arched an eyebrow. No excuse for what exactly? Getting stronger, Naruto said simply. Her chest tightened. She didn't feel strong anymore. She felt like glass, like a glass doll pretending to be human. Naruto must have sensed it, because his voice softened. First, though, meditation. Azula blinked. Meditation? He chuckled. Yeah, control starts up here. He tapped his temple. Before it ever reaches here, he tapped his heart. Reluctantly, Azula sat cross-legged across from him, Naruto closed his eyes, breathing slowly, deliberately. After a moment's hesitation, Azula copied him. The clearing fell silent, except for the distant hum of insects and the rustle of the wind. At first, Azula tried to push away the rising tide of memories, but Naruto's presence was steady and immovable, and the pressure mounted. Faces flashed before her eyes. A mother's disappointed smile, Zuko's fearful glares, her father's cold, demanding pride, the betrayal of friends, the throne slipping away. Her chest grew tight. Her breaths turned shallow. She couldn't breathe. Her body jerked as a deep, ripping sob tore loose from her throat, and the world twisted, collapsing inwards. Azula clawed at her head, gasping, her muscles locking up violently. Naruto's eyes snapped open. Azula? He moved instantly, catching her before she collapsed. She seized and shuddered in his arms, her fingernails digging into his jacket. Without hesitation, Naruto closed his eyes and entered Sage mode. The world sharpened. Every blade of grass, every heartbeat, every tremble of Azula's body a vivid thread he could feel. He wrapped her tightly in his arms, pressing her against his chest. Natural energy flowed from him like a tide, calm, warm, and endless. He pushed it gently into her, weaving a cocoon of peace around her battered spirit. Breathe, he murmured into her hair. You're safe. Just breathe. Slowly, painfully, the seizure ebbed. Her fingers unclenched. Her breathing evened out, though she still trembled like a leaf. Naruto didn't let go. They stayed like that for a long time, the world around them holding its breath. 3 days later, aboard the Fire Nation ship, the war room buzzed with a tense, uneasy energy. Around the massive oak table, Zuko, Aang, Katara, Sokka, Ty Lee, Suki, Toph, and Mai, the ship's captain, they all stood nearby, arms crossed stiffly behind his back. Zuko's eyes, golden and furious, pinned Toph and Mai in place. Report. Toph was the first to speak, her voice casual but firm. There's a guy with Azula. We don't know who he is. No name, no title, nothing. But he's powerful. Mai nodded. Very powerful. Toph leaned forward, tapping the table with 2 fingers. He built a mansion out of trees. Just grew it like it was nothing. Murmurs rippled across the room. Even Sokka's sarcastic instincts failed him. Aang frowned deeply. Sounds like some kind of earthbending, but that's not possible. Toph shook her head. It's not bending. Not the way we know it. His energy feels different. Wilder. Way older. The ship's lantern swayed overhead, casting flickering shadows across worried faces. Katara folded her hands tightly. And Azula? Mai's voice was colder than steel. She's not the same. She's broken. Fragile. Zuko flinched. Toph added, more gently, she's not a threat. Not right now. Suki leaned forward. So what do we do? Zuko closed his eyes, pain flashing across his features. We bring her back somehow. Ty Lee's lips trembled slightly, but she said nothing. The ship rocked softly under them, and somewhere deep inside, an invisible clock ticked towards something none of them could quite predict. Back in the forest, The late afternoon sunlight slanted through the trees in golden beams as Naruto and Azula sat near the training pond, a small fire crackling between them. They hadn't spoken much after Azula's breakdown and seizure, but tonight Naruto broke the silence. "You know," he said, tossing a twig into the fire, "when I was little, everyone hated me." Azula looked up, startled. Naruto gave a short, humorless laugh. "Didn't even know why at first. People would glare at me, avoid me, whisper behind my back." His blue eyes reflected the firelight, ancient and wary. "I thought if I just worked harder, if I smiled more, they'd stop." Azula's hands tightened in her lap. "But it didn't matter," Naruto said. No matter what I did, they hated me anyway." Silence fell between them, heavy, aching. After a long moment, Azula spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. "I was never hated. I was adored, expected to be perfect." She stared into the flames, eyes hollow. "My father praised me when I was strong, when I won, when I hurt others in his name." She swallowed hard. "My mother, she looked at me like I was a monster. She loved Zuko. Always Zuko." Her lips twisted bitterly. "I thought if I could just be better, if I could just win more, fight harder, maybe she would love me too." Naruto said nothing, just listened, steady and patient. Azula wrapped her arms around herself. "Eventually, I stopped caring. I stopped trying. I thought I didn't need anyone." She drew a shaky breath. "But when everything fell apart, when my father abandoned me, when my friends betrayed me, I realized." She squeezed her eyes shut. "I had nothing." The fire crackled softly between them. For a long time, neither spoke. Naruto finally said, his voice low, "You're not nothing." Azula opened her eyes. "You're still here," Naruto said simply. "Still breathing. Still fighting." Their gazes locked across the fire, and something fragile, something tentative, stirred between them, a thread of understanding born of pain and loneliness. Azula didn't recognize the feeling blooming in her chest. It was small, barely noticeable, a faint, reluctant admiration, a warmth she hadn't felt in so long she barely knew what it was. It wasn't love, not yet, but it was the beginning of something real. And for the first time in years, Azula let herself believe, just a little, that maybe she didn't have to face the future alone. The sun had begun its slow descent behind the horizon, casting long golden rays across the thick canopy of trees that surrounded the treehouse mansion. Perched on the wide front porch, Naruto and Azula sat in comfortable silence. A breeze rustled the leaves overhead, and chirping of distant birds filled the tranquil air. Azula sat with one leg tucked under the other, arms loosely crossed as she gazed over the clearing. Her firebender had not returned, but the anger inside her had cooled slightly. Her breathing was easier now. The nightmares came less frequently, and despite herself, the pressure of his strange blonde warrior brought a strange sense of calm she hadn't known in years. Naruto sat cross-legged beside her, arms resting on his knees as he looked toward the trees. "You ever see those weird squirrels with the white fur?" he asked, casually tossing a peanut towards the base of a tree. They're fast little guys. One nearly took my lunch the other day. Azula blinked, caught off guard by the topic. I haven't seen any, but I'm not sure I'd care if I did. Naruto chuckled. You should. That one had murder in its eyes. Azula gave a faint smile. Small but real. Maybe you imagined it. Probably, he admitted. I've been punched by worse. A distant rustling caught Naruto's ear. He turned his head, brows narrowing, as his senses locked on to the approaching presence. Two, fast and focused, moving through the trees. One of them was seething. He stood slowly, stepping in front of Azula in one fluid motion. What is it? She asked, frowning. Stay behind me, he said calmly. Follow my movements if things get messy. From the tree line emerged a woman with green and gold armor, her robes reminiscent of the old Kyoshi warriors, though faded and worn. Beside her stood a burly Earth Kingdom guard with a thick jaw and heavy boots. The woman's eyes locked onto Azula with pure venom. There she is, the woman hissed, raising a shaking hand. You murderous bitch! Azula's eyes widened. Naruto stepped forward, voice level. Is there a problem? The woman's eyes narrowed. That monster had my boyfriend imprisoned during her little coup in Ba Sing Se. He died in that filthy cell. Naruto's expression hardened. She didn't kill him. She might as well have, the woman barked. I'm here to make sure she rots in a cell like he did, or worse. The Earth Kingdom guard stepped forward. You gonna stop us, tough guy? Naruto's eyes sharpened. Yeah. You wanna go through me. But fair warning, you won't get far. The woman snarled and suddenly lunged, reaching for Azula with outstretched fingers. The guard attacked simultaneously, slamming his foot down and sending waves of earth forward. Azula gasped, but Naruto was already in motion. In a blur, he caught the edge of the earth wave with a burst of chakra and flipped over it, redirecting the momentum sideways. The woman came in close, swinging with the blade hidden beneath her sleeve, but Naruto ducked and twisted, shielding Azula with his back. He deflected the strikes with the palm of his hand. Stay down, he told Azula, eyes never leaving the attackers. The Earth Kingdom guard rushed forward again, attempting to trap Naruto with pillars of earth rising around him. Naruto ducked and rolled, kicking one pillar into the other and shattering them both. The Kyoshi warrior spun with frightening speed, trying to flank Naruto, but he caught her wrist mid-swing. Her face contorted with fury, and she screamed, "She deserves to die!" Naruto sighed, almost with pity. Too bad, he muttered. He tapped two fingers to the center of her chest, swift, clean, and precise. The woman staggered. Her rage faltered. A moment passed. Blood spilled from her mouth. She collapsed backwards, breath gone. The Earth Kingdom guard froze in horror. Naruto stood slowly and fixed him with a calm, unflinching gaze. She's dead, Naruto said evenly. If you value your life, you'll leave. Now. The guard backed away slowly, and then turned and fled into the forest without another word. Alright fam, if you want to know why she died, Naruto literally just tapped her fingers with a tiny bit of sage mode and made her heart explode. That's literally what happened. Azula stared, wide-eyed. Naruto turned to her, brushing dust from his shoulders. You okay? She nodded slowly. You killed her with 2 fingers. Didn't want to, he said honestly, but she left me no choice. Azula looked at him, as if seeing him for the first time. Fast, fluid, powerful, deadly. He moved like no one she'd ever seen, not even the Avatar. In the Fire Nation capital, a private council chamber buzzed with tension. Zuko sat at the head of the circular table, his brows furrowed around him, and sat Mai, Ty Lee, Aang, Katara, Sokka, and Suki. She's alive. Azula escaped the facility almost a week ago, and she's being protected by someone extremely dangerous. Mai leaned forward, arms folded tightly. Maybe we should have buried her deeper. Ty Lee frowned. That's harsh, Mai. Suki shook her head. Who's protecting her again? We don't know, Zuko admitted. He's not from this world. Not from any of the known nations. He took down an elite pursuit team upon breaking her out, and now he's staying with Azula in some fortress in the forest. A mansion built into the trees. So, Aang said as he glanced around the table, what do we do? This is the second time we're having this meeting. Bring her back, Mai said. Put her back where she belongs. Toph, who had been leaning back in her seat with her arms behind her head, now sat up. I don't think we should. Everyone turned towards her. Toph shrugged. She's broken. I don't sense any fire in her, just pain. She's been in the cell for 3 years. What's the point of dragging her back into chains? She's still dangerous, Mai said, voice low. She always was. Even now? Toph challenged. Mai didn't respond immediately. Her eyes flickered. She didn't say it aloud, but a sliver of fear wound through her. Fear that Azula would come for her one day. Katara looked uncertain. Maybe she's trying to change. Zuko rested his forehead against his palm. We need more information. Until we understand who this man is and what Azula's really doing, we can't make any moves. Sokka nodded. We need recon, eyes on the ground. That night, Azula slept restlessly in her room in the treehouse mansion. The moonlight spilled through the wooden slats, casting pale patterns on the floor. Her breathing was uneven. In her dream, she found herself in a quiet garden, lush with vines, ponds, and cherry blossoms in bloom. 3 versions of herself stood before her. One was a mature woman, regal and graceful, holding a small child in her arms. The child had black hair and blue eyes. This version of Azula radiated peace. Another stood younger, dressed in royal armor, face contorted with pain and fury. Her fire flared and sputtered. This was her trauma, her past. The third version was older too, but her eyes were tired. She stood alone, her posture hunched, and her skin pale. She was the future Azula, if she chose to remain isolated, closed off from help, from Naruto, and from healing. They all looked at her. I am who you could be, said the woman holding the child. If you accept help, if you let yourself heal. I am who you were, said the younger, angrier self. I held power, but no peace. And I am who you will become, said the pale version, if you keep pushing him away. Azula's throat tightened. Why are you showing me this? Because you need to choose, the older version whispered, before it's too late. The peaceful one stepped forward. He can help you, but only if you let him. Azula's hands trembled. The dream faded. She awoke in her bed, the moonlight now higher in the sky. Her heart beat hard in her chest. She sat up slowly, looking towards the porch where Naruto had likely stayed up to keep watch. And for the first time in years, Azula whispered to herself, I don't want to be alone anymore. But guys, I'm going to end it off right there. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe while you're at it. But without further ado, I'm out, and I will see you guys in the next video. Stay blessed, y'all.